Hey guys, sorry about that. I was gabbing. How are you guys today? Let's see. So Kathleen and Susan are talking about Facebook giving notifications. We were having a conversation yesterday about Facebook doesn't do a good job of giving notifications. Even if you've done everything right to make sure you get notifications from that person, it doesn't do a good job. So let's see. Um, hey Ramesh, good to see you. Nice weather, yay. Susan, what are you trying to say? Uh, okay. All right, so today's question is, do you have any software certifications? It's sort of on topic for today's show. In any industry, because I know some of you are not in legal, do you have any software certifications? Let me know. Hmm. My YouTube is having trouble. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hold on one second. Yeah, this was the first time that I had an error from YouTube after all this time. So, all right, so David Mullins is saying he has a certification from Access Data. Kathleen says, nah, my work is my cert. Hashtag legal, aka Nikolai, says he has the RCA, which is the Relativity Certified Administrator, cert. Barbara's saying no. Hey Barbara, I'm with you. I don't have any either. Let's see. Ooh. Susan has she's certified in Constant Contact, which you guys may know as an email marketing software. Hey Malcolm, good to see you. Malcolm saying none yet, meaning it's on his to-do list. Victoria, good to see you. No certifications, software certifications for Victoria. All right, let's see here. I think I got them all. All right, so I was, as I said, I don't have any software certifications. I'm really old, and the certifications sort of happened after my time. But I think that there are reasons to get certifications in our industry. David is adding, he also has trial director. Oh, it's not, it's Anthony Mullins, right? Also trial director. Make sure I know your name, because I want to make sure I'm calling you the right thing. Ooh, Keisha. MOS Master, Case Map, Lean IT, and working on ITIL. No idea what that is. Want to share with us, Keisha? Is it information technology something something? Ruth is saying none, but been on her mind. Alex is saying hi, and no certifications, I'm old too. Anthony's confirming his name. And, I guess we have a trend here. I'm also old, no certifications, Jacqueline says. All right, that's pretty funny. All right, let's go ahead and get the show started. Welcome to the Legal Tech Mastery Show. My name is Amy Bowser-Rollins, and I'm really excited to have all of you here today, including my guest. Doug, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so Doug and I have actually never met in person, but we've stalked each other for a couple of years. So,
Quite a while.
let's
Long-time
see.
listener, first-time caller.
Jude is saying he doesn't have any certs. And Susan, I like that. She says she's certifiably old. I'll go with that. All right. So, Doug, let's start out with you sharing your career path in the legal industry.
Okay, well, I had a 10-year career as a paint salesman till the house market crashed, and then they were dumping paint salesmen like crazy. So I had to reinvent myself. So I went back to UCLA and got a post-bachelor paralegal certificate, started working in a small attorney law firm, and that kind of kept growing, and we about tripled in size while I was there. And like every paralegal, I realized that you're doing all the work as an attorney and just not getting the pay.
Okay.
So I went to law school, and I graduate from law school in 3 weeks.
Oh,
So I'm just about finished. I've been doing it part-time because I've been working full-time while I've been doing law school.
yeah.
So this is the end of a four-year journey.
Wow, 3
So I've
weeks.
been working in legal. Yeah, it's coming down. Yeah, so I've been working in legal for about almost 8 years now.
Okay.
So,
Do you know
yeah,
what type of law you
it's
want
fun.
to practice?
Legal technology is what I do. So
When you
it's
pass the bar and everything, are you gonna, what area of law do you think you'll go into? Or you're not gonna use it for that at all?
I probably will be in teaching. I've
Okay.
gotten 2 teaching offers
Okay.
already, so I will probably be a paralegal educator.
Okay. Yeah.
Get
Cool.
to stay where my passion is.
Yep. All right. Keisha is clarifying information tech infrastructure library. And Kay has joined us. Hey, Kay. All right. So I read on your LinkedIn profile, and you were joking about it on your profile that you can't fit this on a business card, but you're the chairman of a legal tech committee, and then I hadn't heard of this before. Ready for practice section of the ABA, American Bar Association, law student division. I love that there's a law student division. I didn't even know that.
Correct. Yeah,
So-
no, there is a law student division that governs all of the students at the law schools.
Okay.
So they're pretty involved, and it is very detailed. They have governors over every section. So it's a lot. They deal with pretty much any regulation that involves law students. They have seats on the governing board. They put together proposed legislation changes to the ABA. So it's a good lobbying group as well. Anything that involves students,
Yeah.
they're the student voice for the
Wow.
ABA.
What is
Yeah,
ready for
so it's pretty
practice
good.
section? Is that
So
related
the
to
ready
the
for
fact that it's
practice
law
section-
students?
That is law students, and it is dealing with the topic of having law students be ready to practice when they graduate and go out into the field. So that was our focus. There was various committee members that took over different topics. So they do everything from interviewing, job ready, research skills, moot court, different types of things like that. So I covered legal technology is
Gotcha.
what we did. And so we kind of proposed legislation to the ABA, trying to build best practice scenarios and propose topics that may be adjusting changes. So we kind of help push the Model Rule 1.1 change that a lot of states have been adopting. We help push the ABA to push states to get that put in, is what my
Great.
committee did.
Awesome.
We did a lot of awareness projects.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
No clue. I
was
had
fun.
no clue till I read that on your LinkedIn profile. So now I know. All right. So let's talk about, I'm not going to spell it out, but I'm going to just call it NSLT. Okay.
Okay.
National Society of Legal Technology Certificate Program. But why don't you
Okay.
give us an overview of NSLT?
The NSLT was designed to teach students how to use legal technology programs. We started as a strictly student organization. We've been existing for 3 years. And once our graduates started getting into the field, we started getting law firms and bar associations call us going, hey, that's a really cool program. How do we use it?
Oh,
And so the 1st of March, we launched a professional version of what we were doing for students. So we teach them how to use software. We currently, yep, you can finally join in, Dennis. So happy to have you on board. Yeah, so it's what we do is we teach software. Students were having a hard time doing that. We now provide them 15 different software titles where they get very detailed instruction. Our professional version teaches 25 different software titles.
okay. All right. So I'm curious, how did this even get started? What triggered you to even launch NSLT?
Well, I was talking to my law professor at the end of the 1st semester and went, hey, what class are you going to teach us software in? And they went, yeah, we don't do that at law school. I'm going, well, that's a really bad plan because everything in a law firm functions on technology, functions on software. And so I went, okay, that needs to change. And so I put together a plan and went to my law school and said, hey, we could do an independent study project where these students come in on the weekend. They can learn, 1 weekend a month, they can learn about a different software title. By the time they finish law school, they will be excellent at software. And they just kind of went, hey, that's a cool idea. But
I was waiting for the punchline.
It never really went anywhere. And so I got to where I called software firms and they wouldn't give me the time of day. They wouldn't return my phone call. And so we just slowly started picking up students here and there, one-on-one, and I kind of would write things on my own in my spare time. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and pretty soon we had students in 9 different states. And then software companies started paying us attention and started returning my phone call, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And now we are the required textbook in 70 universities covering 11 countries.
Wow.
So
And how many courses does it end up being? Is it like mine? I taught in the 3 semesters in the paralegal program, a little bit more advanced each time. How does it work?
Most schools right now are covering it all in one semester course in a law office technology or a law practice management
that's
class.
the name of the textbook I use, Law Office Technology. Yeah.
Are you using it by Cornick?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we got to chat afterwards. I got a much
I've
better
switched
program
books
for
3
you.
times. There's no excellent book, but yeah.
But there is an excellent program now.
Yeah, Georgetown closed down the paralegal program, unfortunately. Really, in September they decided to close it, so it's really upsetting. But anyways,
program.
are you in Georgetown Law School?
I'm not. I am at University of Laverne in Ontario, California.
No, I mean of the 70 or 80
program in
schools.
Georgetown?
Is it in Georgetown yet?
We're not yet. We do have a couple independent students in Georgetown, but they aren't using it as part of the law school. There's a shortage of legal technology classes at the law schools.
Exactly.
There's only about 10% of the schools that actually teach any type of software other than Lexis or Westlaw. They'll do legal research software, but that's it. That's where they stop. You go sit in on their moot court, they're still teaching them to make blow-up posters, and you're walking into moot court with a big, huge poster board. And I'm going, okay, you know what? That's really what got me into technology is we got our butt kicked by technology at a trial. I was second chairing at a trial, and I went in with my technology. I had an excellent PowerPoint slide. They walked in with trial director and had the jury eating out of the palm of their hand just by the use of the technology.
Wow.
And the attorney leaned over to me and went, do you know how to use that software?
How can we do that?
I went, nope. And he's going, okay, day 2, you were using that software. And I went home and stayed up all night and taught myself how to use Trial Director so that we could just keep up. And we were too far behind. They had just wowed the judges just in sheer presentation skills.
All right, so Malcolm's singing your praises, and Kay, it's like you're reading my notes. That's the next question I was going to ask. So NSLT is available to individuals as
Right.
well as law firms and corporations
Yes.
and law schools?
It was
Is that
correct.
Can you clarify?
Yep, yep. So it was designed with the needs of an individual in mind, with the idea of, well, what if I didn't learn what I needed to when I was becoming a paralegal or an attorney? What if they didn't teach me the software? Where do you go? I mean, YouTube is great, and there's a lot of great training out there, but
Yep.
it's a video. And sometimes you're watching the video, and you're just going, okay, that makes perfect sense. And you get into the live software, and you're staring at the screen going, okay, now where was that button
Yeah,
again?
it doesn't align well.
Right, right. And then you had to have the software to go play in. And sometimes you aren't sure you want to buy the software
Right.
before you start learning about it. So we simulate the software in a web browser. You do it through interactive tutorials. So as you're learning about the buttons, you're actually pushing the buttons. The information is right there on the screen. We do a learning module, then we do a testing module to make sure you're picking up on the information as it goes through. And so with our certificate program, once you've learned 12 different software titles, we issue you a legal technology certificate.
Okay,
which
so
also comes
12.
as a digital badge.
You
Yes.
offer more than 12, right?
We do. Yeah,
Let's
so
go
you
ahead
can
and show
take
that
choose.
now.
That'd be great.
All right, so you want to talk about it or just...
Yeah. Well, just real quick, so you can see that there are multiple versions of some of the software. So like Microsoft Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, Word, you can see there's a 2013 version and 2016 version, because law firms don't always switch to the latest version. So we wanted to make it capable where they could learn the version that was most relevant to them. We tried to also build a very well-rounded legal professional. So that's why we have Office Basics in there, as well as time and billing with Clio.
Yep.
We get into e-discovery with Concordance, deposition software, LiveNote,
Document
in there
management.
with document management, World Docs, NetDocs,
Yep.
PDF skills, Nuance, and Adobe.
Yeah,
It's
those are the 2 big
surprising
ones. Yep.
exactly how many people don't have the PDF skills. They go to e-file, they can't even add consecutive page numbering onto the document.
I had to Google Innova numbering. I had to Google that.
Numbering. Yeah, it's not a real popular one, but it's got some great features to it.
What is
Desk
Change
site,
Pro
file site, work
TDZ?
site. Change
What's that?
Pro is a great way to compare documents across, because
okay.
not when you're working with documents back and forth, sometimes it comes across as a PDF. And so it's kind of a way to compare documents and see what's been changed. If they didn't use track changes and they send it back,
Yeah.
you can run it through Change Pro and see what they're kind of
What
sneaking
the
in
changes
there
are? Okay.
as we go, what the changes are
I'll have to
without them
Google that
running
one.
a.
All right, so
running
let's see. Jacqueline's saying
Yeah.
she identifies with them staying in the old times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Wade's the lit support manager who cracks me up every week. He's late, but he's letting us know he's SED certified.
Good.
And then Jacqueline saying no text map. I don't know how many
Text
times
map
I
is
got that
coming.
question. It's coming? Okay.
So is time map. We had case map on there, but they released a new version, and it was significantly different than
Okay.
the instruction we already had
Gotcha.
written. So we had to drop that off of our list. But for the last 2 years, we've been teaching case map.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you said that it simulates the program, and I actually logged in this morning to get a feel for it, and I'd already used a similar program with the same company, so I kind of knew what to expect. But it's interactive. You click through the software, and it has text describing what the next step is and how you use the software and stuff like that. But it stops and it makes you click something. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
we're making sure you're paying attention. Because if you're like me, I learned a lot of software by video. And so if you're like me, I'm watching the video, and then suddenly my mailbox will ding, and I'll go check my email, or I'll sit down and text, or I'll be writing a note. I'm really not paying 100% attention to the screen.
I'll
So with our
actually stop the
interactive
video.
Tutorials,
I thought you were going to say that, which means I stopped the video like 100 times trying to learn something.
you're a little better disciplined than I am, apparently. I'm a busy
still.
law student. I have to read my textbook and get my homework done while I'm learning about software.
Yeah.
It's multitasking.
All right, let's see.
So with our
Go ahead.
tutorials, it makes us stop.
We do lunch and
Yeah.
learns for CaseMap, TextMap users barely exploit all the features. Well, it's hard sometimes, Steve.
Exactly.
It's hard to get all the features into a timeline, especially like you said, it's a semester. I
Mhm.
mean, my legal technology class was one semester of 14 weeks, meeting once a week.
Yeah.
I
And that
had
was
I
one
had to
thing.
pick and choose what to teach.
She pointed out a very excellent point. One thing we hear from software companies is that their users only use 20% of the features that are built into the software. And I always get people walk up going, you know what you need to find? I need a software that does this task. I'm going, okay, you have one.
You have that.
The software you have does that. And they're looking at me going, are you kidding me? I've been looking for that for like 2 years.
Yeah, you
And
don't
they're
know
like,
what you don't
no,
know type thing.
you don't know what you don't know. And so in our tutorials, we start assuming they have never seen the software before and walk them from beginner to expert. And we try and encourage them to go all the way through and do all of the tasks. Because I consider myself a very advanced user of Word.
Yeah.
And it
And
wasn't
you
until
still
I
learn
was
something?
putting this together. Oh, totally. I went back to my law firm, went to my paralegals, and went, okay, why didn't any of you tell me that you can double click the copy format and it stays on?
Yeah.
And they all looked at me and went, what? What are you talking about? I mean, we saved like 20 minutes a day just by learning that simple task.
Exactly. I did a show
Yeah.
2 weeks ago on Word, which I think you saw, and I said the
Yeah.
same thing. My
Excellent.
students walk into class and they're a little cocky, like, oh, she's going to try to teach us, Word and PowerPoint. We already know how to use that, but they always
Yeah.
walk out going, oh my God, I was blown away.
Exactly, and that is the funniest thing. So I was at a paralegal educators conference last week in Cleveland, and I got up there and showed them everything you could do with macros and quick parts.
Oh,
And it's like jaws hit the floor,
exactly.
and everybody stared at me like, "Okay, wow, how have we never used this before?"
Because
And just-
can we
they-
talk
they
about that for a
just don't do
second?
Absolutely.
So on the job, you've been on the job as a paralegal, so you know what the legal environment. You worked at a law firm.
Right. Yep.
We can't get them to stop practicing law long enough to learn something that'll actually help them practice law more efficiently.
Yeah, that is the toughest thing, is time for training. If people would realize that you're going to gain that back. So the half an hour that I spent learning about Word, I saved 20 minutes a day.
Every single time, yeah. Each use
Every
case.
single time.
Yeah.
I'm saving myself an hour every week just by learning that one trick that I spent 30 minutes going in and researching and learning how to do. And that's one software title. And so you're going to gain the money back just time over time over time. And then you multiply that by the number of people in your firm.
Yeah.
And then think about the ones who aren't tech savvy. We had an attorney that we had just hired right out of law school.
Mhm.
His first case, I walked into his office and went, "Okay, your e-discovery, just got served on us. So what do you want me to do with it?" He's like, "Okay, print it all out, put it in the conference room. I'm going to need a box of Sharpies, a box of highlighters." And I just turned and I'm like, are you kidding me? I am not going to print 30,000 pages so that you can find the 30 pages that are relevant, and I can throw the
what
other.
He just came out of law school, so he heard attorneys, professors telling him how they do it.
That's how they teach it in law school.
Exactly.
They're going, oh, you just, you mark each color with each issue in a different color. And I'm sitting there like banging my head on the desk going, stop teaching
You're the
that.
tags.
Let me teach you about this great product called Concordance. Excellent for small firms.
It is. Oh, that reminds me. About halfway into the 5 years of teaching at Georgetown, one of the other professors started telling the students that concordance is outdated. People are not going to use it anymore. It's like a thing of the past. And then they would have my class the next semester, and they're like, "Why are you teaching us something that's in the past?" And I said, I was so livid. First of all, it's a good training. If you want to learn document databases, it's excellent software for that. And second of all, it's in plenty of law firms and plenty of
It
government
has
agencies.
24% market share.
See,
by
you know
itself.
all the numbers. I need
Now,
to quote you.
it was going to die because Lexis owned Concordance, or
Yeah.
they'd bought it a number of years ago.
I remember.
Then they kind of quit innovating with it.
Yes, they did.
And And the market got for e-discovery got really competitive. So Lexis just kind of went, hey, this isn't our thing. We're going to discontinue sales of concordance. And then about 3 weeks ago, Cloud9 swooped in and purchased them.
I
And
emailed
went, hey,
Brad
it's a great
Jenkins and I
program.
said, thank you.
Yes, a lot of us were like, "Good, thank you." We needed
Yeah.
something that worked well in a solo and small firm environment. Yeah,
You're giving me nightmares as I can't stop hearing a manual bait stamper on my desk.
a manual bait stamper. Oh, please tell me you're using that for, or you're not using that for something other than a
She
paper
might
weight.
just be joking.
I,
I hope.
That's our joke of the day.
But it's funny because
Manual
people
bait
still
stamper.
don't know they can Bates number in Adobe. I get emails all the time. How do I Bates number electronically? It's
Oh
still
yeah.
amazing, even though we're in 2018.
I had a student who came to me and went, "Oh, I just ordered a manual bait stamper on eBay so that I could bait stamp all my pages." And I'm like, "I am going to fail you right now on the spot.
Wow.
Please tell me you did not do that."
All right, Jacqueline's clarifying when you were talking about old school. So she was like reminiscing.
That is old school. That is definitely old school. I have one, but it's like, it hangs on my wall of days gone past. Things I
Malcolm, we'll
never will use
see.
again.
This is what do you use for calendar to keep track of cases and trial dates?
I use Clio. It integrates well with the cases. As I put it on the schedule for the cases, it adds it into the calendar for Clio. So
So
I don't have
Clio's in
to.
the case management software
Yep.
category for you
Yep.
guys that don't know that. And a lot of smaller firms, like big, huge
Mhm.
firms, don't buy Clio. At least they
No,
weren't in the past.
it is a small firm tool. Big
But
firms
Malcolm,
will
this is a
use.
docketing thing in a large law firm. But
Yeah.
mid-sized law firms are using case management.
Right. Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Large firms will use things like Abacus. Amicus Attorney does things like that.
is Abacus still around?
It is, but they bought Amicus Attorney, and so we're waiting to see
Oh,
which one comes out alive. Whether Abacus, eats up Amicus Attorney and they turn into one, or whether they stay two separate. So we're waiting
wow.
to see what happens.
So
Yeah.
Wade, very smart dude, is saying this might work to get associates to make it a priority. But then they end up being resentful coming to the training. There's
We're
no
trying to turn it into
win-win.
MCLE credit, which they haven't really allowed MCLE credit for software training because they felt it would always be a sales pitch and
Yeah.
not really a training. So we came along and went, well, we're a completely independent organization. We don't do sales at all. We don't have any ties to making commissions. We have no incentive to be encouraging you to pick one software over another. All we do is teach you how the software works. So now we have bar associations looking at us going, that might actually work. We might be able to do MCLE credits and issue it out for you to do training. So
Okay.
now we're hoping that's what brings in the training into the law firm. Now that everybody needs MCLE credit, so now it's a good way to tie the two together,
All right.
especially with 30 states adding that to the ethics.
Yeah. I
The
think it hit
technological.
31.
Woo!
Didn't it hit 31 like a few weeks
I
ago?
think it did. I
Yeah.
think it did.
It's hard to keep
Yeah.
track. Jacqueline's redeeming herself, saying she uses relativity, just so you know.
Relativity is excellent. They've got a 60% market share. It is a great program. It's hard if you're doing a little case.
Yeah.
Relativity just isn't built for small things. Whereas concordance, you can go in and you can search.
Well, my
a few
lawyers
hundred
just loved it
documents.
because it wasn't browser-based. They're like, why
Yeah.
can't we just use concordance? Because
Yeah.
it was in their comfort zone.
Right.
Okay, so
Yep.
let's, we talked about that. I don't think so how is the student tested on the skills? So you said they get certified once they complete 12
Mhm.
of the 25, and that's growing, right?
Correct. Yep.
So how do they learn and then know that they learned it?
So we have an instruction module, and then we do a testing module.
Okay.
So they have to pass the testing module, or they can't keep progressing. So that way, it's a way for us to test them as they go along to make sure they're picking up the skill
Okay.
as it goes.
Can they
And then we
retest?
track. They can. If they get a low score, they have to go back and take it again.
Okay.
They can also go back and repeat it. Our membership is good for a year. So even if they're in the class for just one semester,
Yeah.
they can come back over a year's time and repeat
Gotcha.
the modules as they get back into practice. Yeah. And so we get a lot of requests where people go, well, I want to be able to test out, and then I don't have to go do the training because I can pass the test.
They just want to
And
do the test. I've heard of that.
Yeah, and we don't go with that. Now, if you're dealing with other companies like LTC4, with ProCertus, the LTA, that's how their process works. You take an assessment first, then they decide what training is appropriate for you.
Okay.
I don't follow that model because I think, well, we don't do that in practice. We don't let people sit for the bar and then look at their score and go, hey, here's the topics you need to go take in law school. We make them go through all the training, and then we test them at the very end. And so that's how we go. That way, I follow that method in that I make you do everything and learn everything from start because you don't know what you may have missed. I don't want it to be a lucky guess, and now you miss a real important skill because you just happen to luck out and hit the right button.
See, that's my thing too, it's about the learning outcomes. You know, it's A, really learning it, and B, being able to apply it in your job like the very next day or the very next week.
Right.
That's when I feel like I've succeeded in teaching them something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly the point, is getting that skill. And so if I know that they've completed all of the learning, I know what they know. It isn't me, them just being lucky on a test, or maybe somebody else took the test for them to get them through that point. So yeah, we make them sit there and do it. It takes about 50 hours to get our certificate. So
Okay.
We're not handing them out like a Bez machine. It actually is a significant amount of training before we issue that certificate.
Okay, cool.
And then we issue it as a digital badge, which tracks which software titles you learned to get your certificate.
I saw that. So you can put it on your LinkedIn profile, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Digital badges are pretty cool.
They are. They're fun.
Okay, so in some of the other areas of our industry, a certification has to be renewed? Do you have anything like that where you have to come back X number of years later and prove you still know it? Or is that not a priority?
We don't have anything like that just because we didn't feel that it was a priority. Where you're listing on there what software you learned as part of the certificate.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you look at that digital badge, it's going to say you learned Word 2013.
Right.
And so we don't want to say, hey, next year, all the skills of Word 2013 are now out of date. You have to come back and retrain.
Right.
Because you could still be using Word 2013 for 4, 5, 6, 7.
If you work in a law firm, that's true.
I'm still using Word 2010. So
in your firm? Oh my God.
Yep. I know. I keep trying to tell them, hey, we need to upgrade, but attorneys have this thing going, hey, if it's not broke, why fix it?
I know. They do. That's so true. Wade, once an attorney in early training where we were going over the keyboard when Dunn said you didn't go over the key that isn't marked and is large and long. They'd never used the space bar before. What?
I'm not even going to think about how horrible that was to work in. But I know attorneys like that. I have an attorney in a firm that I went in to go do training in, and she does not use word processing. She does not know how to use Word. She does not know how to use Word perfect. She handwrites every single brief, hands it to the secretary types it up.
How old is this person?
Mid-50s.
50s, wow. Jacqueline
Still young
says,
enough that you should know how, even typing skills should
That's somebody who's
across
being really stubborn.
That is exactly.
I did training in the early 90s and had an attorney stand sideways to see where the image on his screen went. Stand sideways to see where the
to
image...
see behind the monitor.
We're giving you stories so you can repeat them, Doug.
This is great. This is great.
Uh-oh. Victoria works at a Philadelphia firm. She's still on 2010.
Woo! Yep. Yeah. Well, it's, that really attorneys
Wade's
have
getting
that.
confrontational. I don't need to go to training. I graduated from law school. And that's the thing with, there's so many debates in our industry about putting legal technology training in law schools. You see these LinkedIn conversations going on and on about it doesn't belong there. I'm like, but it does.
You know, the biggest thing I hear when I'm talking to a law school
Yeah.
is, well, I don't need to learn technology because that's what my paralegal's for. They think they're going to get this job where outside their office door is a fleet of paralegals just waiting to do their every bidding. They don't realize that
How
now
hands-on it is.
80% of their own technology. It's the days of dictating their briefs and having an attorney that does it, or a paralegal that types it all up for them. Those days are gone. That went down with the last housing crash when the economy went bad. The first thing to go was the 1-to-1 ratio of paralegal to attorney.
Yeah, my last firm, it was 1 to 5. One secretary for
typical.
5 attorneys.
We're seeing it now be a ratio between 5 to 7.
Yeah.
Is the typical, support staff to attorney ratio is 5 to 7.
All right, so I want to paraphrase this quote you had. You were all excited. You got into a publication recently, but I love this
USA
quote.
Today.
Huh?
It was USA Today. I just, making sure we name dropped there.
That's fine.
It was a big deal. I mean, come on.
So it says, while law schools are so excited about being innovative, which is all everyone's talking about stuff like that in our industry, many are forgetting that their basic mission is to instruct and educate. High five to Doug. Innovation labs are found in abundance, yet legal software education is scarce, and you took it one bit further, but I'm just going to stop at scarce.
It's a great article.
It is.
So,
I mean, it was brief, but it was on point.
It was.
It was just, it was like, hello.
Exactly. And so you look out there as to how many schools are doing legal technology, and the first thing you're going to find is what they're doing is they're building law labs where they draft technology, they create apps. And I'm going, okay, well that's great, but when you get in a law firm, how many of the attorneys are really going to spend their time building an app?
Exactly.
They're not. But they're going to spend a lot of time drafting briefs and going to depositions and
using software, using legal technology. Yeah.
And then look at the number of schools that teach e-discovery. It's frightening, really, really frightening.
It is.
So, but it isn't cool. It isn't cool to be, we're the law school. We have a class on Word, using advanced features in Word. You are never going to see a law firm brag about that anywhere because it doesn't get them any brownie points. But saying, we have an innovative law lab where we create apps to further the access to justice, which, hey, it is a great endeavor. I'm not trying to say that
innovation is a good thing. But do it in all areas of technology.
Right. And that thing is having innovation without having instruction. So part of my article was going to be about the empty tracks of legal technology. We are building all this really cool tech. We're not teaching anybody how to use it. And so, we've got great railroads going all these amazing places. We didn't build any train cars to take people there.
Yeah,
so we're not putting it to use.
I have a lot of legal trainer friends, like a number of them, and we all talk about how training is so deprioritized. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
It's frightening because there isn't any brownie points in it. There's no bragging rights in having that as part of a class. You're not looked as innovative on the cutting edge, and when students are picking out where they're going to go to school, those are words that pop out and make them go, ooh, I want to go there. Nobody looks at it and goes, ooh, they're going to teach me how to auto-generate a table of authorities. I'm going to go to that school. But as
soon as they get out of law school, they're going to want to do that exact thing.
I get a lot of emails where people are like, okay, how many periods do I put on a table of authorities before I put the number? I'm just going,
wait, say it again. How many periods do I...
How many periods do you put before you put the page number?
Oh my God. Leader dots? They don't know about leader dots?
Going, yes.
I teach that in my class, just FYI. I teach...
How to auto-generate it or how many dots to put.
I teach tabs, and one of the types of tabs is leader dots. What edition of USA Today, Barb is asking?
It came out in March 29th. It was a Thursday. They did an insert called The Future of Legal. It had Aaron Brockovich on the cover. So it's
Cool.
going to be available at different trade shows throughout the year as that kind of 12-page insert.
Cool. Little time to learn with
Yes.
all the workload as a paralegal. Yeah, we're talking about attorneys. It applies to paralegals too.
Exactly. Oh, I had a busy paralegal desk. I had 45 cases of my own. And so, yeah, trying to learn anything was crazy. I'd spend my lunches. I'd spend my lunches eating at my desk and watching YouTube videos. It made me
Yeah.
better at my job. It increased my hourly wage. So I kind of went, hey, that's a good use of my lunch.
At my last firm, once a year they would wrangle somebody to come in and do some sort of software training. But the problem was if they didn't, like if it was PowerPoint, for instance, they didn't do PowerPoints often enough to actually remember what they learned. So
Yeah, yeah, and that is a tough thing to still combat. There definitely is a use it or lose it deal when it comes to skills. Software
but
skills are just the same.
but if we're prioritizing Word, Excel, and then PDF software, those
Yes.
are the big ones. I mean, I've
And
had
it's
so many
surprising how many people don't know
attorneys.
Excel.
Doug, you're going to laugh at this. I've had so many attorneys get an Excel spreadsheet from someone outside the firm, email it to me, and say, "Can you format it and print it?"
My
One,
favorite is
go ahead.
the attorney sent me an Excel spreadsheet, and he's going, "Can you add up all of the numbers in that for me and tell me what all those numbers tabulate to?" He's like, "Here's a calculator." And I just was like, "Okay, are you trolling me?
I was getting ready to give a
test?"
similar example. They were trying to calculate something from the paper version, like highlighting and figuring out which ones had the, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, let me introduce you to filtering.
Yes. It's called AutoSum.
All right, well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming
Okay.
on the show today. It
Thank you
looks
for
like
letting me
everybody
on.
had
It
fun.
looks like a dream come true. I got to be on Legal Tech Mastery. Woo.
Susan's asking how many dots. We're not going to answer that.
7.
And Malcolm's saying, good suggestion about lunch hour. Yeah. I mean, at one of my firms, we did it for the attorneys. We did it after work, like 5 to 6, and we offered beer. Beer and food. Bribe them to
Training
get
to
training.
alcohol. That always goes well together.
Well, I wish you the best, and I really like the idea of getting the CLEs for this type of training, and then just getting into more law schools. That would be pretty darn cool.
Yeah. We're working on it.
So,
Yep.
thank you.
Oh, so hey, real quick, where everybody can find training that we've been talking about, we are at
point.
legaltechsociety.org.
LegalTechSociety.org, you guys.
Correct.
Just Google it. It comes right up as the first one. It's National Society of Legal Technology.
Correct.
All right. We have a guest next week, but I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I just want to let you know that it'll be a fun show also. So, Doug, thank you. And everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you next Friday.
Bye.
Bye.